All right, good morning. It's around 10:40 a.m. on a Monday morning. So I'm very excited to do or share this work session. It's not a webinar, it's really just a work session, but hopefully we're going to have some fun. So basically, it's a Google Sheet. I'm just going to explain what I'm trying to do. This is a Google Sheet that will contain all the elements that you need in the form of tabs. There's going to be 10 tabs. So this is one tab, a second tab, etc. So it's a Google Sheet that contains all the templates, information, resources, links that you need in order to build your digital business. So I've been talking for quite some time about hold on, let me just building an artificial business intelligence, and this seems to be like a good way to get started because if I focus on digital businesses, it's going to be very specialized. So what I mean by digital businesses is when you're selling ebooks, you're selling video courses, you're selling PDF files, you're selling web applications which can run on the web, you're selling anything that is digital and where your customers can buy something and they can download or they can stream it right away. So that's a digital business. So there's no shipping and handling, etc. And the amazing thing about this Google Sheet that I'm developing is that I'm gonna sell it at a certain price. I don't know, maybe it can be $30 Canadian. And when people purchase this price automatically through my PayPal, they get redirected to this Google Sheet URL and they can make a copy to their Google Drive. So they're going to have a copy of this Google Sheet, and they can modify it, they can edit, they can change it, they can put their name and their logo on it, they can resell it. So it's really like private label rights, right? Meaning that they have, they can edit, modify, they can resell, they can make unlimited profits. I don't mind. They just have to invest the initial $30. So it's very much like the Linux operating system, where you grab the open source system and you can resell it, you can modify it, you can use it for yourself. So that's the purpose of this Google Sheet. And so I spoke to ChatGPT and it recommended the following 10 tabs. So let's take a look at these 10 tabs and see if they apply. So this is a good tab, business ideation. You have to have an idea of the business that you're going to create. So it can be a business where you're selling ebooks. It can be a business where you're selling video courses. For example, many people sell video courses on teachable.com. It can be a business where, where you're selling a membership. That's one of my favorite business models because you're charging only like $10 or $20 a month and your members have access to all of your content. So I think these are the three main business types I'm going to focus on. There might be more, maybe like a web application. So you're selling a web application or several web applications and you're charging, and this is what they call software as a service or SaaS. The second tab is product development. Seems to be important, because no matter what we develop, you have to keep developing those products. So it makes sense. Marketing and branding, that makes sense. Sales funnel, obviously it makes sense. So this tab is where we're going to sell. Here, e-commerce and monetization. Yeah, so this is, I guess, we talk about sales platforms like Gumroad, where you can recruit affiliates. So it's good to be familiar with those platforms. Technology and tools, let me see. Yeah, it makes sense. You have to use the right tools. I don't know what they mean by technology, but the tech stack, the software, the tools to run a digital business. Yeah, it makes sense. Customer support and engagement. Yeah, this makes sense. You have to have a customer service manual that will tell all your people how to handle customer interactions. Analytics and optimization. Yeah, performance metrics, that's very important. Legal and compliance. Copyright. Yeah, this is probably important when, especially if you're selling ebooks and you offer resale rights or master resale rights or private label rights. You have to manage the contracts and the legality of the whole thing. It's important. Scaling and growth. Yeah, here we're talking about partnerships, alliances. So yeah, I think it's important. But you notice that this is toward the end, right? So I think these 10 tabs are sequenced in a logical manner. So let's go ahead and create these tabs. So I'm just going to summarize the tab names. And by the way, I'm just going to clearly spell out the kinds of businesses that we are excluding in this Google Sheet. And this Google Sheet is kind of like what shall I call it? It's kind of like an expert system. So it's not, it's not like a large language model like ChatGPT, although we will be using large language model extensively, but it's not like the language models that we have currently out there. It's more like an expert system that tells you exactly what you have to do if you want to succeed with your digital business. So an expert system is very algorithmic. So let me just put it here. It's deterministic. It tells you exactly what you have to do to succeed. Okay, and a large language model is more like probabilistic. It gives you answers and it gives you plans, but it doesn't. It can suggest certain behaviors and schedule, but an expert system is more deterministic. You have to do this if you want to succeed. So that's the aim for this Google Sheet. So this Google Sheet or this expert system AI is excluding. It's excluding physical retail businesses. So if you have a store on the street, this is probably not for you. I might create another expert system for retail stores, but it's probably not for you if you're offering professional services where you have to put in your time. So if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're an SEO analyst or some kind of freelancer, this is probably not for you. And it doesn't mean that services-based business cannot succeed, but it's not scalable. So I'm excluding these businesses. So it's really for digital businesses where, if you're able to sell an ebook, a video course, or a web application, then if you can sell to one person, you can sell to 10. And if you can sell to 10, you can sell to 1,000, 1,000,000. So it's really scalable. So, it's infinitely scalable. But of course, this sounds great, but 1,000,000 times 0 is still 1,000,000. 1,000,000 times 0 is still 0. So the trick here is to make sure that you have a product that is really good, like your ebook, your video course, etc. have to be really good, and then you can infinitely scale. It's almost like being able to print money, but in a legal manner, of course. All right, so let's take a look at these tabs. I'm gonna give them a name. So here we're just gonna put ideation. Here, product development. Here we're gonna put just branding. Here, sales. So marketing is basically generating leads, and sales means you're converting those leads into customers. Here, e-commerce, payments, subscription. I'm just going to put platform. Technology and tools. tools. Okay, let's take technologies, including AI, including software applications. Okay, here customer service. So we're gonna put analytics, optimization. You know, I'm gonna put dashboard, legal, scaling. All right, so if you're thinking of launching or you're currently running a digital business, then probably these 10 tabs cover them all. So let's get started. This one is ideation. It's really cool that I'm live streaming, because later on I can show this video recording and I can tell prospects that, look, I actually spent 3 hours to develop this Google Sheet, and you get my 3 hours of hard work for only $30, you know. So it's kind of like proof of work. So the tab sheet, the tab here can be called what is it? Product development, marketing. I think it's technologies, platform. And this is a Google Sheet, but I definitely will create a base 44 equivalent and then also a Python equivalent. But I chose Google Sheet because people can easily make a copy, so it takes a few seconds to make a copy. So here we have legal, and if I remember correctly, it's customer service. I think we've covered them all, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something's missing. Marketing, sales, platform, technologies. Oh, dashboard and scaling, right? Okay. So we have dashboards. All right, so after 15 minutes of work, that's what we have. And now I'm going to insert some text so I can develop. And actually, you know what? I'm going to insert a link. So here I click on insert a link, and ideation, it's going to be, what is it? That one. So if I click on it, I go to ideation. Okay, great. So I'm going to do the same for the others. Product development. This allows people to get to the tabs that they are interested in. I mean, it's a lot of work, but since I'm the one doing the work, I'm gonna save time for millions of people. They don't have to create this Google sheet. What is it? Legal. And finally, scaling. And it should always be like that, by the way. You know, like only one person should do the work, and then the digital outcome can be shared with millions of people. Okay, so just as a test, if I click on platform, I would go to the platform tab. Okay, great. So let's call this one general. And so now I'm gonna copy this. Let me think. Should I copy or should I put a reference? Probably a reference. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say that this is equal to this guy, and so it's going to be copied automatically. Same thing here. So anyways, this is boring. I'm going to do this later. So let's get straight into it. Let's go to product development, which is probably the most important. So what should we focus on in terms of product development? What are the key success factors, so to speak? So we need to know the topic, we need to know the format, the purpose of the product. So here I'm going to put information product. Well, it's not necessarily information, but it's just a general term that people understand. So for example, the topic can be copywriting, the format can be an ebook, the purpose could be teach how to write a sales letter or a landing page, and obviously we need to clarify the audience, put the price. So these are just the specifications for the information product, because in my opinion, I think that the information product is the most important part. I'm going to put it in bold. The ideation, I mean, there are so many ideas today, it's not going to be hard for people to find a good idea. The marketing depends on the product, sales depends on the product, the platform, that's easy. I wonder if I should use colors to show the level of difficulty, because obviously there are 10 tabs, but you don't have to put your energy in equal amounts with those 10 tabs. So I think this is going to be where the big money is going to be made. So this is where you're going to have to spend a great deal of time. So I'm going to put it in green. This is where you're actually putting in the work and making the big bucks. Similar to the 6 Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono. And I guess here also, that's where your money is going to come from, here also. But the ideation, like I said, there are so many ideas out there, it's not going to be a problem. The platform, it's Gumroad, it's YouTube, PayPal, it's not, or Shopify. Technology, this could be important, you know, like especially technology for creating new products. Like, so we're talking about Camtasia, which is absolutely necessary for editing video courses. Like I use PowerPoint, which is great for creating ebooks. I use a bunch of other tools. Let's say a webcam that's 2K. I use my smartphone, but you know, but Camtasia, oh, and also Dragon Naturally Speaking, $300. It's a speech to text application. So technology, yeah, it's kind of important because you want to automate. Of course, you have AI, all kinds of large language models that you have to use. So you know what? I'm gonna put it in, let's say in blue here. It's fairly important. Customer service, I don't really want to deal too much with that. You know, it should be self-service. Of course, we offer some basic customer service, but yeah, it's probably important. But anyways, dashboard is super important. So I'm going to put that in blue also. Legal scaling. By the time you get there, you know, you've arrived already. So, the platform. It doesn't say the business model, and that's important because is it a membership site? Is it a video library? Is it a bunch of ebooks? Like, what is it? So I don't know where the business model fits. Is it? It's not product. I think it's platform. So we're gonna put it here. So, what is your business your business model? Okay, this is fairly important, you know. Okay, so going back to our product development, we have to clarify like exactly what is the product here. You have to specify because for your digital business. So let's say the price, I don't know, it could be $30, and the rights. What I mean is that do your customers have the resale rights, master resale rights? You know, so here, you know, you can have private label rights, resale rights, master resale rights, etc. So this is about the information product. And so that is very important because here, you know, it's in green. I think the marketing and the sales are less important, so I'm going to put them in green, but maybe a more subdued, you know, so it's not as critical as the right product. So if the product is crucial, are there ways for us to determine how good your product is? So how to assess the quality of the product. How to develop the product. So it's all about the product. It's not marketing and sales. It's really the pièce de résistance. You know, this is actually the dish that you're going to sell. If you were a restaurant, this is, you know, it's like a Steve Jobs kind of thing. Like, you know, how, like, what is the value of your product? Is the value validated? And by that I mean, like, you actually have to have customers, right? Is there a prototype for your product? How do you gather user feedback? And this is still at the prototype phase. How do you do the packaging, the branding? What are the characteristics and therefore the benefits of your product? How to use your product? Does it require education, customer education? Who is going to develop the product? All these questions are super important. And so somebody who makes a copy of this Google Sheet, you know, they will be able to ask themselves all these questions. It's basically the same questions, but your answers will be different from my answers. But you have to ask yourself these questions to be rational, to be objective, to be effective in developing your information product. Now, instead of putting the format here, I'm just going to give you a choice. So it's up to you to choose. You know, it can be an ebook, it can be a textbook, which is more detailed than an ebook. It can be a video tutorial, so you can have several video tutorials of 10 minutes or 15 minutes each, or it can be a formal video course of 10 modules or 15 modules. It can be a boot camp where you're training and transferring your knowledge and skills, within a week or within 2 or 3 days. It can be a Zoom webinar. So there are all kinds of different product formats, and typically you should use or start with one instead of offering all 6 of them. There's more than 6, but choose one. Like if you're a great writer, choose ebook. If you prefer to talk, use video tutorials or audio courses. But video tutorials and video courses are not interactive. If you like to interact with people, a Zoom webinar is best. A boot camp can be done on Zoom as well. So on Zoom. And maybe an audio course. Sometimes people love to listen to an audio course, so it's just MP3 files while they're driving, commuting. It can be an audio course on leadership, etc., especially if you have a good voice. But these days, you can use AI to create the voiceover. And speaking of AI, I can't believe I forgot this. We have to put AI and how AI can help you. So here you can choose ChatGPT. If you're creating a software program, which by the way I forgot, an information products can be a web app, can be a software program, right? So if you're creating a software program, it's probably best if you use Cloud, or you can use Base44. They host it for you, or you can use Replit. I use Replit quickly, but it's not as easy to use as Base44. So how is AI going to help you? And this is so important. I'm going to put it in a special color. You have to use AI to help your product development. Okay, so you have to choose one of these, right? And so I'm laying out all the options for you so that if you're a user of this Google Sheet, you just choose one. And you know what? I just have this idea. If you pick on one, it should take you to a tab that gives you a template. So let's do that for at least for the ebook. So I'm gonna create a new tab, and this is actually a lot of fun because it's forcing me to. Where's my Google Sheets? Okay, so it's forcing me to articulate what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna put it in small letters like this, and then with product here, if you click on ebook, you're gonna go straight to that ebook page. So let's say I click on it, I go to the ebook tab, and here we have a, let's say, template for your ebook. Okay, so like even the prompts that you can use to get ChatGPT to write your ebooks. So prompts, here we have prompt 1, prompt 2, etc. I mean, you don't even have to write your ebook. ChatGPT can write it for you. So let's say prompt number 1 can be something like based on my expertise on, and then you put your topic, suggest 10 chapter headings for my non-fiction ebook. And then ChatGPT is going to suggest 10 chapter headings, and then for the second prompt you can say write, I haven't tested it, but let's say write 200 words for each of the 10 chapters above, and then you can continue. So I'm not gonna do the rest of it, but definitely I will do it later, and maybe somebody can help me to do that, somebody who actually wrote her ebook. I'm gonna credit you with a mention here, and you can generate leads that way. But definitely we have to continue to write these prompts. So that's for people who want to create an ebook. That's probably the easiest information product to create, so that's where I would start. And so just to give you an example, actually in 2011, I actually wrote a 500-page ebook before, so I'm going to put it somewhere here. Maybe you can take a look, and I'll provide a PDF link. And it's an ebook that you buy for $30, and you can resell it to anyone in the world and pocket 100% of the profit. So as a case study, I'm going to put my 500-page ebook titled Systematic Wealth Creation. This is really like 90% of everything I know about innovation, business, finance, etc. So it's in PDF, and it comes with yeah, I'm going to put master reseller rights. So you buy it, you sell it to your customers at any price, you pocket 100% of the profits, and your customers can also resell. So it's like a virus, you you get it, you share it, and you make money. And the retail price is $30. So I'm going to put the link later on. If anybody is interested, they can buy it. It's 500 pages, but it's more like 500 slides. That's more accurate, because I wanted to develop it for university. So it's 500 slide ebook, but it explains everything. Okay, so we go back to general. Product development is here. So same thing with the textbook, which is not very accessible to most people, because you have to be a professor like myself to write a textbook. It's very challenging. So let's forget about textbook. But if you want to create a video course, definitely that's, in many ways, it's easier than an ebook, because writing is a skill, but talking, everyone can talk, right? So let's create a tab for video course. Put it here. So this tab shows you everything you need to know about a video course. So I'm going to put a link here, and it's going to be video course. So when you click on it, you get to the video course tab, and here, I'll teach you how to create a video courses. I've created video courses myself. So again, you need the topic for your video course. You need the prompts to get ChatGPT to create. You need the voiceover, so it can be yours. It can be 11 Labs or another platform. So these are the variables. So the voiceover, you can decide on the number of modules, who is the audience, what is the purpose, what benefits can they get, what and this is important, what is the result that your students will get. So we're going to put promised results. And the thing about video course, and this is something I only discovered recently, when you create a video course, you don't have to promise the moon. Just create like a specific result, like not even plural, like just a simple result, like you're going to be able to do this. So example, you will be able to do this, something very specific. Don't promise the moon. Promise a specific capability, something they actually will be able to do. Okay, something customers will actually be able to do. So this is not about an academic exercise. Your video course, you have to demonstrate, you have to show them step by step, and that's possible with a video course, right? Because it's visual. So step by step, what they're going to be able to learn, so that they can replicate your results. So I don't have time now, but I'm going to talk later on about the FARM framework. So quickly, you should have a framework so that you can teach more effectively. And this is something that so many people are missing. Even people who are super smart, who have been successful in their field, they just don't have a framework to teach. A framework is like the metal frame of a building. It's what is supporting your knowledge. So I'm going to talk more about frameworks later on, but that's the first thing. The second, letter A, stands for you have to propose specific actions in your video course. The third is you have to promise specific results. Now, as a student, they probably won't achieve the same results that you have achieved. Like, so for example, my sister Kim taught me how to cook, but obviously my cooking is not going to produce the same delicious results that she has been able to achieve, because she's almost like a chef, so but still I'm able to cook edible food, right? So I can eat. So you have to promise specific results. And finally, manageability. You have to teach your students how to manage their process and their results so that they keep getting better and better results. So this is what I call the FARM framework, and we'll talk more about that. But this FARM framework applies to all your video courses, whether they're ebooks, textbooks, bootcamp, audio courses, etc. So the FARM framework is extremely important when you're creating a new information product. So in fact, I'm going to put it here so that we remember: framework, actions, results, and manageability. Manageability is important because when you operate in the real world, so many things will happen. You will need to adjust, you will need to adapt, you will need to pivot. And so as a good teacher, you want to teach your students how to adapt, because it's not like a procedure like in accounting. They just have to do step A to step Z, and they can achieve an accounting result. Accounting is very it's like a closed system. But when you teach people how to operate in the world, especially the business world, you have to teach them how to manage their processes, their techniques, etc., to get better and better results. And it's always action oriented. Like even when you sell an ebook, you have to propose specific actions. And later on, for actions, I'm going to talk about a quality assurance system that I learned called ISO. So I'm just going to put it here to remind myself. But here in the information product tab, you have all these variables that you have to fulfill and all these questions. So here I'm going to put questions. So you have to ask yourself these questions to ensure your info product is the very highest quality. So interestingly, I've been talking for 40 minutes, 39 minutes. And so, whoops. And so, this Google Sheet is worth at least 40 minutes of my time. So it means that people who buy this Google Sheet for, let's say, $30, they're getting 40 minutes of work that I just put in. And so when you buy this Google Sheet for $30, you make a copy to your Google Drive, you're going to be able to resell it to anybody else, because they not only get the Google Sheet, but they also get the video recording of this live stream, so they can understand the logic, how I was able to create this Google Sheet. So I think product development, you get the idea. You have to select between one of these formats, and these are questions you have to ask yourself. So let's talk about marketing. How do you generate leads for your information product? So let's go to the marketing tab, which is here. So I'm just going to write a few questions like, who are you aiming to serve with your info product? How will you reach them? And again, I'm going to offer multiple choice, so it's easy for you to choose just one option. So for example, you can say on Facebook, you can say by email, you can say, if you have a YouTube channel, you can say through LinkedIn, etc. So who are you aiming to serve? Again, I can propose, but you have to define your own segments. Can be young professionals, can be freelancers, can be entrepreneurs. Now I define it according to the stage of life, but in your case it might be based on age, etc. So I'm just providing the options here for you to choose. So and these are questions, right? Other questions could be, this is an important one. What is the main benefit of your info product? So just one, like you don't have to have like 5 or 10, but just what is the main benefit? Why should they buy your info product? What is the process or methodology? It's always better to tell people that you have a process and invent one if you have to, because a process helps people to achieve results quickly, reliably. So here we can say, what is the process, the framework, the methodology? It's, in my experience, it's very important. So whether I'm teaching email marketing, project management, I always have a framework. And maybe, later on I'm gonna create a tab, but quickly, the framework, for example, for my ideal career, which I sold to McGill University for close to $10,000, it has 4 axes, so it's like a cross, and it's for the ideal career framework. Another very popular business workshop I used to run in 2006, it's called the BMW. It stands for Business Model Workout, and it focuses on marketing, sales, and production. Another for email marketing is what I call the PLUS framework. I'll explain later. For B2B sales and marketing, I have the ELPHIC framework. So I have all these cool frameworks that allow me to teach effectively. Like even for something seduction, like men seducing women, I came up with the 4 pillars of manhood, and it's called the man, the approach, the romance, and the future. Like I don't have time for that, but I can basically go to YouTube channels or membership clubs where people teach men how to seduce women, and I can organize everything that they're teaching into these 4 pillars. So that that's the power of a framework. You can actually absorb and integrate the information and the knowledge by other people when you have a framework. Same thing with the ideal career. The 4 axes are basically passion, talent, service, and purpose. And so I can take any career book and absorb the information into these 4 dimensions, these 4 axes. Same thing with my BMW workshop. Everything can be integrated into marketing, sales, and production. But production, recently I changed it to customer satisfaction, because you can produce tons of products, but ultimately you need to satisfy customers. It starts with production, but it ends with customer satisfaction. So here, email marketing, I have these frameworks. So anyways, these are the frameworks that you have to develop if you're going to have a good an easy way of marketing your information product. So these are questions that you have to ask yourself. So I'm just going to put the name of the tab here. It's called marketing. So these are questions. What is the platform you're going to use? Is it Gumroad? Is it Kajabi? Is it Circle? Is it School? There are so many platforms, but they're not as important. But you have to choose a platform that you resonate with, that you know how to use, right? I forgot, of course, there's ClickFunnels. So these are questions that are related to your marketing. Another crucial question is, what is your lead magnet? Like, how are you going to build your email list? Events to build your email lists. Do you offer coupons? Do you offer discounts for people when they join your email list? What is your email platform? Like I use MailerLite. I highly recommend it. I used to use MailChimp before, but MailChimp is getting too complicated. So if you're starting out, MailerLite is good enough. So all these questions are aimed at helping you with your marketing. How do you generate leads? So that's the main question here. Just going to put it here. How do you reliably generate leads every week? So it has to be a system that is so reliable that you can track every Friday afternoon. You can count the number of leads that you're generating every week. So that's the marketing tab. Now, if we go to the sales tab, which is what you do after marketing, let's see what are the activities that you have to do in order to sell your information product, because it's all happening online. So I've been teaching for 46 minutes. Okay, so the sales process, I'm gonna put it here. It's really a process, right? So what is your sales process? What are the benefits that you're highlighting? Will you hire sales reps? What is the inbound sales script? Like when people call you or they send you an email, what is the script that your people will follow to receive those inbound queries, and how do you convert? What are the incentives for them to buy now? Do you have presentations? Is it in PowerPoint format, or what other format? Do you use videos? So all of these tools and techniques and frameworks are part of your sales effort. And you can have the best marketing in the world, but if you don't have a sales process to convert the leads into customers, then it's not going to work. So sales and marketing go together. So I think I'm going to stop here, but this is just the beginning of this Google Sheet, which is meant to save you time. And once it gets to a level where it's significantly useful, I will begin to sell it for only $30, and you can make a copy to your Google Drive, and you can turn around and you can resell it. So the final Google Sheet is going to have a notice, something like whoops, it's going to be something like, by purchasing this Google Sheet, you automatically receive the master resale rights, enabling you to sell this to anyone at any price and pocket 100% of the profits. You can also modify the sheet as you and claim of, I don't want to mention the copyright thing. You can modify the sheet as you wish, away or sell it to anyone. Okay, so I think this is pretty good. I think it's a pretty good deal, and it has to be there so that people know, and they can be confident that, when I buy this Google Sheet, I'm gonna have this right to resell, because it's a master resale rights, and their customers will also be able to resell this sheet. So the hard work that I've put in so far, so let me see, I've been working for 50 minutes. You can get my 50 minutes of hard work where I laid out all the 10 components of a digital business. You have all of that for $30, and yeah, it's good for you. It's going to be good for your customers, because you can resell it to them at $30, at $50, whatever, and you're going to make money. So here, speaking of price, I'm going to put the price of this Google Sheet. I'm going to put US $30. So it's just so that people know. Now, of course, after you make a copy, you might decide that this Google Sheet is not worth $30. It's worth $100. So you can change the price too. But the price here is just to indicate to potential customers that this is the value. In your opinion, this is the value of this Google Sheet. So for now, I think this Google Sheet is worth $30. But after I add more details to all these tabs, I might set the price at $100 or $200. It depends. It's going to be based on my honest assessment. Like, I really believe that this Google Sheet is worth $30 or $100. All right, so this has been a great work session, because in less than an hour I've been able to use ChatGPT to lay down the foundation, the architecture for this Google Sheet, which is going to be very useful for people who want to create a digital business. which is the easiest way to get started in business. You don't need an office, you don't need employees, you don't need a website. You just need to have a digital product that you can sell to people online, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, etc. All right, I'm going to take a break now, and we will resume in the future.